but it was more of a smaller group, allegedly. So Field talked. Field's job was to keep all the phones clean, all devices clean. And when I say clean, he said he had to scrub all the information about freaky shit, all the sexual searches, anything on that phone, iPad, or device. His job was to clean it. Also, he also had to, so we call him the cleanup man, because he also had to clean up all the baby oil and condom. Man, he described this shit. He said, imagine having to go into a hotel room, because Diddy said Diddy used to destroy them hotel rooms on the Wild King nights. He said, imagine going in that hotel afterwards, the hotel room, and you cleaning up semen, you cleaning up baby oil, you cleaning up blood, you cleaning up all kind of bodily fluids. They can't pay me enough, y'all. It ain't enough motherfucking money on this fucking earth to have me cleaning up none of that shit for nobody. I wouldn't even want nobody cleaning up. See, that's the difference. That's what I'm saying. I don't care how big I am or how big I ever get. Who I am to my core would just not allow me to do certain shit. I'm not going to make nobody clean up no nasty ass, trifling ass shit behind me like that. Not like that. That's ridiculous. Like that's crazy. So I got a clip from him that I'm going to let y'all hear. But Phil went in, and it's a black man who worked for Diddy for 2 years, and man, Diddy even made him fuck. Allegedly. Diddy made him fuck, according to him. So let me play that. This Diddy is a monster. And I always told my friends that when I met Diddy, I thought our interaction was weird, and I thought he was looking at me weird. But this was before, this was back in this was in 2000, and I met Diddy 2000 and had to be like 2006. Had to be like 2006, 2005, somewhere in there when I met Diddy. And I remember, I'm going to go to the Field thing, but when I met Diddy, this is when that Last Night Keisha Cole song was out. I was running, Manny Haley was my mentor at the time. I was on his record label. And it was the time when that Last Night song with Keisha and Diddy was out. And I was I never hung with Diddy. I hung with Manny and Keisha Cole. Keisha Cole was actually dating Jeezy at this time. This is how long ago it was. If y'all remember when Keisha Cole was dating Jeezy, this is all in that time. And then Keisha used to be telling me about, be talking about what Jeezy was doing and mad and shit. It was a crazy time. But anyway, so we was I went to this exclusive party with Manny. It wasn't like no freak out party. It was like an industry regular party in LA that was like at like some type of restaurant, but they had closed the restaurant down, so only certain people could come in there or whatever. So I go in there with Manny. I'm chilling. I'm a type person. I'm always kind of just doing my own thing. I don't be in nobody's face. Like, I'm not impressed, but I'm also very respectful. I respect everybody, but I'm not like somebody who just get all stupid because celebrities around. So Manny was like, oh, my boy, Manny and Diddy are cool. So Manny was like, oh, my boy Puff. I think we still calling him Puff then. Then Manny was like, oh, my boy Puff over there. Come on, Flo, come meet Puff. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went over there to meet Puff. And so, like, as a guy, when you meet somebody, you kind of know, especially when it's just gonna be a quick meeting, you kind of know what people gonna say. It's like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Like your music, whatever. So when he took me over there to meet Diddy, he was like, he introduced me. He's like, yeah, Diddy, it's my artist, H Flow. You know, my rap name was H Flow. So Diddy looks at me, and when I went to shake his hand, first of all, I'm trying to shake his hand like a real shake. He had like his hands kind of soft or something. So that was the handshake was weird, but this is all shit that I didn't think too much of it at this time. And so then, you know, when you handshake and you kind of lean in, I'm thinking he's gonna say, you know, nice to meet you or something like that. First thing he says is, you heard that new Keisha that new Keisha record that I got out. And I'm like, nigga, that bitch playing everywhere. What do you mean have I heard it? Yeah, I heard it. I ain't say that to him. I'm thinking in my head, like, of course I heard it. Nigga, it's playing every fucking where on earth right now. But I just like, yeah, that shit hot. You know, I'm giving him his props. But I was thinking, like, why is that the first thing you saying to me? So anyway, but then the nigga looking all crazy. So I ended up just kind of saying nice to meet you type shit and told Manny that I was going back to where we was. So I don't know if Diddy felt the way because I just slid and he was expecting me to be all going crazy. I don't even know. But my friends will tell you to this day, I always told them, like, I can't put my finger on it, but I was like, when I met Puff, that shit was weird. And I know how guys meet guys. And he didn't look like he was looking looking at me like a guy's supposed to look at a guy. Like, I don't know. But anyway, I got the fuck away from him, and that was it. So I've only spoke to Diddy one time in my life, and that was when Manny introduced us, and he was looking weird then to me. And my friends will tell you that. I told them even before all this shit hit, I told them about that story, and they would be like, I don't know. I'm like, man, I don't know what he was looking at, but I ain't like how he was looking at it. I ain't like it. So let's get into what Phil got to talking about.
On a daily basis, we had to keep those things stopped. Phil, can you come back upstairs to help me set up the red lights? I get a lot of voice notes from Diddy. Daily. 5 minutes, every 5 seconds. Would you ever be asked to bring things to Diddy during a Wild King night while it was ongoing? Sure. So I need some Cialis. Give me 20 Xanax, please. Plan B. I need 10 mushroom capsules, the microdose. Bring it out to me, please. What would you see when you would go into the room? There wouldn't be anything happening while you were walking into the room. There would be people there. What can you tell us about who the guests were? A lot of times there was.
So if you could hear, those were actually voice notes from Diddy asking Phil to bring mushrooms and drugs and Molly and Adderall and all type of stuff. I didn't play them all, but this guy actually had voice note messages from Diddy that he was playing on the documentary. And it's basically red-handed because when they look at the charges, they're saying one of the things he did is he had his workers go get drugs and do all this sex work and shit, right? That's literally red-handed that you're caught. That's in the indictment. And this, if you have voice notes saying that I'm telling you to go get drugs for me and shit like that, that don't look good for your case. We them boys made it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anybody else listening? Get you a Flo Puccino every morning. I know it's early, but for one, I'm an early bird. And second, I have to get this show done so my audio crowd can have it before 9 o'clock, somewhere in the 8 o'clock range a.m. So I got to start this one at like 7:30 so that can happen. So I know it's early, but I appreciate y'all for joining your boy. We got Shannon in the building, Felix, we them boys in the building, Michelle, and more. Come on and join us. If you ain't joined us today, join us tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. for the Friday show. I call it the Flo Puccino in the morning because it's early as fuck and I know it, and I don't like coffee. So yeah, so Phil is spilling the beans. And so they even talked about how phony this day was.
Difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I mean, I hit rock bottom. I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. The apology actually sent me into a rage. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. For him to have said that he was at rock bottom and it was the worst point in his life, he was a liar. It's another performance. And it's a full-on lie. Like, come on, bro. Like, you sound like, just shut the don't talk anymore.
Hey, when a woman tell you to shut the fuck up, don't talk anymore, you done got on their last fucking nerve. I know that. But that was about that they spoke on that that apology Diddy gave, and they talked about how he was full of shit. He was just acting. You know, these are his workers, y'all. These are people that have been with him almost even up to recently, not just a lot of time we be hearing about people from 30 years ago, but now these people that's talking damn near just was working for Puff. And they said that apology, they say he was full of shit. And so also, did D Woods has some shit to say. And I already told you what they said about the Danny Kane. Here go D Woods, my girl.
Bring up awful memories. See myself standing in those dark, scary, predatory spaces and hearing somebody say some of the most degrading things to me, and at the age of 20 and 21, having to figure out how to navigate and not let that person break me down. I remember one time where the camera's there while we were like trying on clothes so he could watch us. He's going to point his little camera at us for Diddy so he can judge our hearing. I called it like Jedi mind tricks. This happened so early on. He was going one by one, just like critiquing our style. And when he got to me, it wasn't about the clothes. And I was like, well, you know, next to these skinny girls, I'm always gonna look thick. I'm working out, I'm running. I always feel thick next to these skinny chicks. Puff would just say, you look like you know, you one cheeseburger away. You know that, right? You know that you one cheeseburger away. Like he wanted me to agree with him. And it was like I had to just take it, grit my teeth, and let him say what he wanted to say.
And it's just, now that's D Woods. And I told y'all, I ain't standing on I won't stand on too many 10 toes for nobody if I don't really know them or really got real interaction, because I don't know what the fuck people will do or say. But I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. She ain't gonna lie. She, one of the people, like I always tell y'all, called one of us. When the few people in the industry that's one of us, I'm gonna let you know who they are when we talking about them. And D Woods is definitely one of us, and it fucks me up. And I'm gonna tell you how I know for a fact that she's not messy or wouldn't do that shit to advance her career. For one, I know she worked hard as fuck, and like even back then, just like me, we were young as fuck back then, and she stood 10 toes against Puff in that era. I mean, at that age. So you know she not trying to advance or do nothing like that. But I used to come around D Woods and Danny Kane when all this shit was going on. Because I told you we met right at the same time around when the show was going on and they had their single. And so, you know, me, I'm on the outside looking in. I'm trying to get where they are in my mind. And so I'm like, they would be in town, say they would be in a city. I think one time they were in Cleveland, and I happened to be in Cleveland, and D Woods hit me up. And so after their show in Cleveland, this was back in early 2006. I don't know whenever that Diddy Kane was going on. But so after the show, I met and came. They told me, D Woods told me to come to the hotel. I was going to kick it with the whole group, even though I was just cool with Danny Kane. I mean, I was cool with D Woods. So I get there and I'm thinking, you know, when you think people on top of the world, I'm thinking when I show up, they're going to be partying, laughing, joking, right? Because, you know, they performing and, you know, you just think everything is perfect. I get to the hotel room, it's quiet as fuck. And then D Woods comes out and you can tell, like, I don't know, it's kind of looked like she had been crying. I can't say for sure, but I know she looked sad. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? And none of the girls was around. I guess they were laying down or whatever they were doing. And she didn't say what happened, but she would tell me basically like that Diddy was just fucked up. She never told me no details for real. I kind of read between lines, but it was just so weird to me. Because at this time I'm thinking like being on Bad Boy is the best shit ever. And I'm looking at Danny Kane like they killing it. And then every time I would show up, them girls would be crying. And I could not understand it. So now to hear D Woods actually tell what the fuck was really going on, like from her mouth, like I could guess what was going on, but you know, ain't nothing like knowing it from the horse's mouth, like, because a guess could be wrong. And so it really fucked me up, y'all. Like now looking back, because now I can replay all those times I would pull up to D Woods and it would always be, I'm not always, but you know, it was always some type of shit going on with Diddy. Basically, if I was just a guess, he basically just like was tormenting them girls, because that's what it felt like. It felt like he would just say shit or do shit to bring them down every time they were up, every time they were happy, or because it would always be like after a show or around showtime. And I'm just like, something ain't right. So, like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but I know D Woods ain't on no trash.